Hey there, YouTube. Welcome on back to Artichoke Dip, the solo tabletop gamer. And in this video, we're going to get into the second video of 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. Now, if you have not watched the first video, I highly recommend that you do that now. Go back and watch that because this video will make a lot more sense to you. And, well, if not, well, it's okay just to watch this video as well. And with that being said, you may be asking yourself, why 2 videos? Well, why 2 or maybe more? That's because when I had originally filmed the original playthrough, the video was 80 minutes long. That's before editing and adding anything else into it. I had decided to break the video up into different videos to make it, well, more easy to watch, if you will. And not only that, if there is a particular part in the video that you would want to watch again, it'll make it far easier to go through the video library and pick it out by the thumbnail and go straight to the video rather than having to cover 80 minutes and hoping to find the part. So with that being said, my friends, before we get into the video, I got a couple of disclaimers I got to get out of the way. First thing is, if you liked the video, let me know. Drop me a like. This will tell me that you like the content and I'll make more like it. And if you're new here and you've just stumbled upon my channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button followed by the bell icon. When I do upload a new video, you'll get a notification so you do not miss one. All right, my friends. So with that being said, let's pick up where I left off in the last video and let's jump into 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. All right, my friends, let's get to the table. Okay, so the first thing I have to determine, now going into the adventures right here, is the unexplored locations table. And looking at my map, I just put this in here. This has been unexplored. We don't know what's in there. So let's see what is in there. Let's roll the D100 and get this thing moving. 32. 26 or 35. Suspected monster haunt. Something left tracks here. Make a 8 or better pathwise test to follow them. If you succeed, mark a monster lair on your map. Okay. Well, considering looking at my characters, I do have scouting. Animar has that, but it's not pathwise, but it is scouting. And the one thing it does say in this game is feel free to change things up to fit the game session. So as far as scouting goes, let's do it this way. First things first, let's do the travel. Let's see what happens on the travel result, and then I will go back to the other table and we'll see if we are successful or not. So, travel roll. We are going to travel to the location. 14. 14, uneventful travels, absolutely nothing happens. Okay, so we have made it here to the monster lair successfully without any excitement. Now comes to the next thing that I have to focus on, and that is rolling. I'm going to have to go back to this part of the book, which is in the rules, which is the proficiency test. So it says, here's an example. Make an 8+ crafting test. Means the character needs a result of 8 or better on 2d6. They may add +2 if they have a crafting skill. Okay, so with reading that description that it had gave me further back in the book, yeah, it was a +2 if I had the skill, which I'm going to use scouting, which I get a +2, and it has to be an 8 or better in order to be able to detect these tracks. So let's see how successful Animar is with his scouting skill. 7, 8, 9. Okay, so he is able to quickly, as they are making their travel through, he notices the strange tracks in, I'm going to say, some muddy areas that have lead them to the monster lair. Yes, yes. Okay. Now, I need a little bit more information here. Let's go to the Battle Encounters 2, Terrain and Setup. Let's see what kind of terrain we're dealing with here and where this encounter is going to take place, and then I can finally set up a battle map. '41, a graveyard. Oh man, excellent, excellent. One graveyard coming up. Okay, so here it is. I have it set up. The graveyard, of course, I put in all these headstones because these are going to offer some cover. It's not really going to affect line of sight a whole lot, but it is going to break things up and slow them down a little bit for maneuvering around here. And of course, placing the miniature within 2 inches of a structure or any other terrain piece, which means I could actually place him right here, and technically he would be, we'll place him right there. That'll be more, I'm gonna say, reasonable. And he's a pretty fierce looking miniature. I mean, I think that represents a giant lizard, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I'd say so. All right, so enough of that. We'll place him right there. That's where he's going to be coming in at. I keep wanting to call them characters. They're heroes and an avatar. But, yeah, I'm probably going to say that quite often. Characters, characters, characters. And, well, it's probably because I am so used to playing so many RPGs lately that's just is what it is. But, regardless, let's get down to the first scenario. I'm going to choose my characters will be coming in here on these white spots, and we're just going to go boom, 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 boom. Now, first thing is first. I have to roll for the first roll. I got to roll a d6 for every single one of my models, or which I'm going to call characters here. And I have a decision to make. I can do a fast action or a slow action. Now, in between the fast and the slow action is the enemy's phase, which they are going to move and attack. And then, of course, that's going to start over again. But first things first, let's get the d6 rolled up, and let's assign the initiative to where I want them. Okay, I got 2 1s, a 2, and a 3. Holy cow! They're all going to be performing a quick action phase. So it's going to be my side and then the enemy's side. And then we're going to start all over again. So very first one I want to put out there that I want to go absolutely first is going to be Elfimir, which is a Fae. But he has a nice crossbow right here that can do some decent damage. So let's put the one on him. The other one that I have, which I call where is he? Ah, there he is. the Butcher, which is the human, and I gave him 2 bastard swords. You can see why I call him the Butcher. Yeah. So the Butcher will be the next one. Then I'm going to send out my Mystic, which will be marked by 2. And then last but not least, I will have Animar, the human, but he's pretty much average. He's got some decent skills to him, decent weapons and armor, but he's, above all, as far as gaming goes with this game, he's pretty damn average. All right, enough talk. Let's get to the first round, and let's go to Elfimir. Where do I come up with these names? Anyways, I'm just gonna call him Elf. Let's go to Elf first, and he has Battle-wise, which if that comes up, it's not going to. He does have a skill on Battle-wise. The cool thing is he does have what's called Foresight. He can re-roll an initiative dice, so I don't have to use that this turn. Aura of Winter, no melee bonus if he's within 4 allies. And he has Curse, which means he can gain no luck points, which is really not going to have much of a bearing on what I got going on here right now. So let's just jump over to the speed. He has a regular movement of 4, and he has a dash speed of 7. But I'm going to use the 4. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So as he walks up into the graveyard, and yeah, he notices for himself, he doesn't even got to make a check anymore. These large prints, non-human prints into the soft earth of the graveyard. And as he looks over the headstones, he sees this massive lizard creature that seems to be gorging itself on a recently exhumed grave of human remains. He raises his crossbow. All right, so the crossbow has a range of 24 inches because this is a miniature game. Everything is measured in inches of movement, which makes it nice because you don't always have to play on a hex grid. You can always play on just a regular table if you wanted to, but which is going to be 120 on my mini stick here, which means he is technically within 55 feet. Basically, he's well within range, I guess is what I should just say. And he's going to take his shot. Now, he does get a +1. If you want to think of it this way, against his armor rating to see if he hits. There's 2 ratings to this game. When you look at it, that will come up a lot of times, like right here, it'll give you a number, then a slash and a number. Think of this, if the only thing you played is RPGs and you haven't done many mini games, armor class, damage. It's the simplest way to think of it. Basically, armor, damage. That's the way I've really come to grapple with it in my mind, we'll say. Now, the overall, the giant lizard, he has an armor of 2. So I have to have, he's going to get 2 off of whatever I roll against that armor. So first things first, let's roll a d6, because with combat, it says you roll a single d6, and then it's going to give you a list here of examples, and then, of course, the difficulty classes in order to actually hit that target, of course, minusing the armor that the target offers. Now, within weapon range and in the open. Yeah, it's within weapon range. It is in the open. I could argue with the headstones that the headstones are blocking line of sight. Now, I can do that a couple of different ways. One simple way that I could do that is just by simply measuring the headstone. The headstone is roughly just over an inch, and the minis are a lot taller. So they're almost about 1.75 inches, where the headstone comes in at about 1.25 inches. So line of sight will not be the issue. He's going to be able to see over the headstones and see the target quite clearly, which means he's going to have a 5 or better. So I get a +1 to that roll, -2. I've rolled a 1. And my bonus is a 2. He has an armor 2. So the crossbow goes off, but misses its target. Okay, the next one is the butcher. The butcher has a speed of 6 and a bonus of 2, which grants him a dash of 8, which first thing I want to do is I want to look at the movement. The speed of that lizard is 6. So I don't want to be the first one to rush up, but what the hell, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he dashes up in there, weapons ready. Now, next one that's going to go will be Barbicus, the human mystic. And I have a lot of very interesting spells that I can use here. And I think what I'm going to do, because you really can't do anything but cast a spell. So with him, I'm going to just place him onto the board into play. I love this spell. I'm going to cast Fog. And I'm going to use one of the charges out of my Mystic Trinket. Now, if you don't understand, in the game, when it comes to magic, you have to have what they call strands. Either you collect them and you find them naturally, or you have something like a Mystic Trinket that you can pull one of these charges out to empower your spell. There's a couple of different ways that, you can do that. And, maybe if people enjoy this video enough and they want, to learn more about that, I can probably do more and go a little bit more into magic and explain that. But for the sake of this video, he has 3 charges that he can use for magic, and burning up one, maybe, depending on how the roll goes, he'll have 2 left. But I'm going to cast Fog. And Fog is very interesting. I had a lot of fun with Fog. So let's just take a quick look at Fog. So Fog. Place a fog cloud circle 3 inches across. Figures can move into, out of, and through it, but it blocks all lines of sight. The duration is 1 full round. The target is the ground. Now, the incantation cost is a 6. Now, incantation means I'm going to roll 2d6. I'm going to add those together. And if it's successful, the spell is going to go off as intended. And then at that point, that one strand of power that I pulled out of my Mystic Trinket will be burned up. It will be gone. So let's hope this goes off well. And I'm going to roll a Fog. And I'll show you why I'm going to roll a Fog. I did this in the introduction scenario. I had a lot of fun with this. I really did. Okay, so I have rolled an 11. The incantation cost for the Fog is a 6 or more. Yeah. Plus, being a mystic, you get a +1 to the roll automatically, which is going to bring that up to an even 12, which is more than enough. His target is going to be where the butcher is. Now, 3 inches across, it says. Boom. I'm going to put this down to represent this. He cast a fog bank around the butcher. And the butcher is now completely obscured and out of line of sight from the lizard, and he is currently here. The cool thing is, if I move this here, as you can see, I'm going to have 1, 2. I got to add some more areas into that. I'm going to mark off that will be in the cloud bank. 1 will be up here. And then from his location, you can see there's 1. He's right here. That's half of a hex. And then here. So I'm going to say out this way will be 3 inches. 1. He's here. 1, 1, 2. This will clear it out to there. 3. And then, of course, 1, 2. I'm just going to put this here. 3. And I can fill that in a little bit more. Like so. Oop, without knocking my turning pieces over. And why the heck not? We'll just put it in there to make it more even. All right. 1 more. Okay. There we go. That'll work nice. Now, this is the area of the fog bank that the butcher is completely out of the question. Cannot see him. Line of sight is blocked. Yada, yada, yada. And let's move on. Okay, so that was my Mystic's turn. Last but not least will be Animar's turn. And he has a speed of 4. And if I add his bonus, that would give him a dash of 7. So he does have a bastard sword. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's going to dash up to the very edge of the fog cloud to basically block the line of sight from what's getting ready to go down. Okay. So enemy movements. Now, it explains that your enemy movements, typically they're going to seek shelter and get out of the line of sight, ranged attacks, stuff like that. When it comes to this encounter, I don't necessarily think that this creature is going to take that approach. He's just going to want more food and cause devastation, right? So let's just go to his stat blocks. He has a speed of 6. So he's going to be unable to see anyone here behind this fog bank. But he knows they were there. So I'm going to have him move in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to come up to the edge of this fog bank. And he's looking rather confused. Now, he can't see anything to attack it. So this is going to be rather interesting for a couple of reasons. And I'm going to end the enemy phase right there. Considering with the fog bank, he's not going to be able to see through this. It's going to block the line of sight. So everybody, he's out of line of sight, out of line of sight, out of line of sight. He's behind the cloud bank. And of course, the Mystic being further back in between is completely out of the line of sight. So let's roll the D6 again and see where the initiative roll comes in. Let me just check my combat rounds to make sure I am doing this 100% correct. Resolve exchange. Roll a D6 for each character, adding their combat skill to the roll. Okay, so we never got to what they would call the hits or anything like that because we missed, and we're just going to go straight back to the initiative phase. Let's see who goes first, and I can make a determination of who I want to go in the quick action phase and the slow action phase. Okay, so we're going to have 2 slow actions, 2 quick actions. So I know how I'm going to do this. First quick action will be on the Mystic. Second quick action, you know what? How do I want to... I'm going to put it on the Butcher. And then the last two slow actions will be on Elf and on, what is his name again? Animar. There we go. On Animar. All right. Quick action phases. First one, the Mystic. What am I going to do with the Mystic? Well, I played around with this, and this is pretty fun. I had a lot of enjoyment, and I have to utilize this because at the end of this round, this fog bank is going to disappear. But that is Summon, page 50. So let's go to Summon and see what Summon can do. And this can actually be pretty devastating, I figured out very quickly in the game. There it is, Summon. So it cost quite a bit to, you know, it's a 7. A magical creature or construct of choice is summoned in base contact with the Mystic. The animal has agility 2, speed of 6, combat of +0, toughness of 4, and armor of 0. It attacks for plus, it doesn't get any bonuses to an attack and or damage. It cannot use any equipment. The creature can act immediately in the phase in which it is summoned. This spell is only usable if you have less than 6 warband members and allies on the table, which I do. I only have 4. Okay, so, dang. I'm going to use that D6 right there from my Mystic. I'm going to use this other D6. I need a 7 or better. I get a +1 to my roll. Okay, I got a 7 plus the 1 is an 8. So it is successful. And I have decided that I'm going to summon. I still have the mini out here. This is great. I got to keep, boom. He has summoned a gargoyle. Now, it does say here the animal has an agility of 2, a speed of 6, a combat of +0, and a toughness of 4, which is good. It you know, it gets 1 attack, but so what? It gets to activate on the first turn. So I'm going to send him this way. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into the fog bank as ordered. I'll just place him there because he's not going to. So he's on the very edge of the fog bank. The lizard may be able to see the red glowing eyes as the creature comes moving, getting ready to lunge and attack. All right. Next quick action is the Butcher. The Butcher, he is going to make his attack, and he is equipped with 2 bastard swords, and he gets a +1 to damage on both of them. And of course, he has some pretty heavy armor, so yeah, he's pretty good. His agility is a 1. He's got a speed of 6. He can move pretty dang quick, so he's going to go 1, 2. He comes leaping out of the fog bank with both swords, getting ready to attack. And that is what he is going to do. Now, melee attack rolls are pretty straightforward. You roll the dice and you try to see if you can hit the target number. The giant lizard has an armor of 2. So, he's got 2 bastard swords. I'm going to roll 2d6 and see if either one of those lands a hit on him. Cool. 1 missed, the other one did hit. It got a d6. Now, with that being said, I get to go into the actual hits. The hits, work like this. I'm going to roll the d6. I'm going to add the toughness score to it, which will be a +1. He's got a 6. +1 is a 7. The monster has a toughness of 6. Okay, so subtract the armor from that. That will reduce it by 2 points. So that's going to take it down to a 4 +1, which will be a 5. He has a toughness of 6. So he is not completely dead, but he is completely devastated. He has taken a pretty nasty freaking wound. Boom. We'll put 1 there to represent his toughness. So the butcher comes out of the fog. One sword just cleaving right through the lizard. Dang, I should have put like more of them out there, but I figured this would be, we'll see. Okay. Now it is the enemy's turn. He is still on his feet and more than able to be able to attack. He gets a +2 to his combat. So let's roll that and see where the lizard comes in. A 4, 5, 6. So he has a 6. Looking at the butcher, he has a toughness of 3. So we haven't even gotten into that yet. He's wearing partial armor. So he has an armor rating of 2. So that's going to reduce that hit by 2 points. So it'll take it down to 2, +2 will equal 4. Okay, well, 4 will definitely hit. Now I got to go into the damage attack. He gets a +1 to damage. So let's see what the damage does. 2 + 1 is a 3. So the armor will reduce that damage by 2, but he's going to take 1 point of damage on his toughness, which will reduce the butcher to 2. So he is wounded. He's not dead, but he is wounded. All right, that will be the enemy phase. Now it's going to go to my slow action phase, which will be these other 2 right here. First one I'm going to send in is Elf, right? The Fae. And he has a movement of 4. So he's going to go 1. No, he is the wrong miniature. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to have a clear line of sight around the fog bank straight at the lizard. And he's going to fire his crossbow. He's well within range. He's got a 24-inch range. And he is completely unobstructed from the target. Which, looking back at the table for a ranged attack, so combat, within 6 and in the open. So I got to have a 3 or better. He's well within, he's 1, 2, 3, 4 inches from the base. So a 3 or better will hit him. All right, so I get a +1 to that. So I got to roll a 2 or better on a d6. Oh, there we have it. A 6. He has hit. I get to go straight into damage. The damage has no bonuses, so it's whatever I roll against the toughness. It's a 6. The armor was going to reduce it by 2, so a total of 4 points. He has 1 point of toughness left. At that point, yeah. The crossbow bolt fires right in between the eyes of the lizard, taking the lizard out. And then as he's going to make his turn around here, 1, 2, 3, 4, getting ready to get into the action, just as he sees the lizard fall dead, the cloud bank disappears. And since there is no other threats in the area, the mystic can dispel the gargoyle as well. I didn't need that because there was only one enemy. And at that point, it returns back to a more peaceful, quiet graveyard for the villagers. All right, so one of my characters was injured. Now, here is the thing. It has a reward rating of 2. So it says right here, Slayer's rewards. Fighting a giant beast is usually undertaken for the prosperity of rich rewards, though the warband, tough enough to slay such a creature, is unlikely to need further reward. Every aberration has a reward rating in the profile table. If you slay multiple aberrations in the same encounter, use the single highest reward rating plus 1 per additional creature. You receive the following rewards: gold marks equal to the reward rating. So it's got a reward rating of 2. So I'm going to receive 2 total gold. From that, and I'll put that on my mystics. So 2, and of course, now that this has, we have slain the beast, now we go into resolution phase, which is 187. Okay. And I'm going to look over the activity chart that it has put in here for me. This is activity: victorious enemy threat, encounter, or raid. Adventure points gained, I can roll a d6. Victorious ride patrol, I gain 1. So I forgot to put that in for the ride patrol earlier. Defeat an aberration, which I did, 1 per aberration. So I'm going to get 1 adventure point per aberration. I did not defeat a unique foe, defeat a lieutenant or a captain. Finish a contract. I did finish this contract. There was a contract. We came here, we slay the beast. So I get 1 point for finishing a contract. I get 1 point per aberration. And then counting the victorious ride patrol of going and harassing the peasant earlier, that'd be a total of 3 action or adventure points. So I can note that on my sheet, and I'm going to put that up here. Adventure points. Okay. Check for injuries. Fight, okay, fight in the dark. That's if you decide to run away, retreating from a battle. We did not retreat. Injury table, heroes. Hero injury table. So this can get, this is for if you decide to run in battle, what happens to the heroes. I have not ran. I took 1 point of damage, but let's see what it says. Check for injuries, fight in the dark. Characters may suffer consequences from what happened in the battle. If a character was removed from the table as a casualty, they must roll a d100 on the injury table below. Okay, so he wasn't removed, retreating from a battle, and we did not retreat. So that does not, none of this pertains to me. Unusual finds. So let's see. Do we find any unusual finds? So that's step 2. Step 3. During the campaign turn, your heroes will have acquired some XP if they survived an encounter, slain an aberration or enemy, leader, or held the field, or achieved an objective during a battle. During this step, if any of your heroes have reached a new XP threshold, they make an advancement roll in which results in improvement, ability scores, or new skill proficiencies. Followers may even become heroes. See the experience points, chapter 193. Okay, so let's go to 193. Experience points. Hero advancement. After each encounter, each hero earns experience points as follows. Survive the encounter, plus 1 XP. We survived it. Enemy leader slain. Nope. Heroic slayer. Distribute XP equal to the reward rating of the operation slain. Okay, which would be 2. So I would have to get 4 XP total in order to advance, but currently I have gotten 2. So, okay, well, and it says to break them up evenly. Okay, so I'm going to say the Butcher got 1 XP for his battle, and I'm going to put 1 XP on my Mystic. Yes, my Mystic, he I think he did pretty good. Summoning the Fog Bank, summoning the Gargoyle, even though he didn't get to use the Gargoyle and have it come out of the fog and just completely start tearing into the giant lizard. Would have been cool, but hey. All right. So that's going to take care of the XP. So check for advancement. Roll for loot. If you achieved your objective in the battle, you may roll once on the loot table. See page 196 to obtain loot. Some events may grant you additional rolls, particularly during a delve. Okay, so let's see if we have found any loot. And it says to go to page 196 for that. So loot tables. Let me see if we get anything on the loot table. 92. Enhanced item. Well, that's pretty cool. Here's the table. We got an enhanced item. What is an enhanced item? Valuable subtables. Roll a D100. Enhanced armor. Consumables, tools, enhanced items. There we go. Roll 1D100 to determine the category of item, then roll the appropriate table. Oh, okay. So 64. Armor. Nice. Let's see what kind of armor, enhanced armor, we have found. 24. Curative harness. What is a curative harness? Armor 2, in the tracking phase of a battle round where the wearer did not fight in the melee combat, any wound they have heals. Nice, nice. I'm going to mark that page because I'm going to have to decide who's going to get that armor. Okay. All right, so I marked that. That is done. We have done that part of the resolution. And now, what point do we get to travel back, man? Roll for unusual finds. If you held the field in the scenario, roll a D100 on the unusual finds. Really? Use the column appropriate to the scenario type to see if you find anything unexpected. Each of the listed finds below. Okay. You sweep the area. You find 2 weapons in the muck. Roll d6 twice. Huh. Okay, so roll for unusual finds. If you held the field in the scenario, which I'm pretty sure we did hold the field in this scenario, roll a d100. Say this is going to be a site battle because it took place in the graveyard. So 54. Valuable goods. Okay. You have a keen eye for treasure and something catches your eye almost immediately. Roll once on the loot valuables table. Subtable. Loot's valuable. Okay, let's get back to the loot's table. There we go. So let's see what we find in the loot's table. Tools. Okay. Ranger's cloak. Oh. Let's go see what the ranger... Actually, I can look at this later on. I'm just going to write down Ranger's cloak. All right. Now I have one resolution. It says the last thing to do is supposedly the news reaching us. All right, my friends, so this is where I'm going to leave the video off. It's been a pretty lengthy video and covered quite a bit, all the way from the next stages where I left off on video 1 and all the way through combat. And it was a learning experience for me as well. Like I said, I had decided, hey, I want to finish up 5 leagues and I want to go through this, and I thought, what the hell? Why not just record it, go through it? And like I said, you know, I'm sure I have probably made some mistakes along the way, but that's the whole thing about when you learn a new game. You go through the learning curve, you go through it, and some rules that may have not been so clear to you the first time around, after playing it a time or two, they become quite crystal clear and you understand them. That's why I love tabletop gaming so much. It's not only is it a challenge to a certain extent, but it's just, it's hard to explain. I just love tabletop gaming. And so far, I have to admit, 5 leagues, wow. I am very surprised by this as far as for a miniatures game. And what can I say? What can I say more other than, you know, at this point, man, 2 thumbs up for this one. I'll tell you what, it's really good, and it really has blown me away, I guess you could say, just as to how detailed this is, and for the fact that it's designed to be for solo and or cooperative play. I have, like I said, I'm very surprised. I am very, very surprised, and I am very happy with it. And I can foresee a lot more mini games coming in the future. Now, with this video leaving off on here, the last thing I have to do and get into is going to be finishing out the last of the stages that I have to go through. Then, of course, to travel back to town to actually round out that contract and end everything for the game scenario, because it's not done yet, even though the encounter was faced and defeated. And I just went through gathering the treasure that was found. There's still a couple more steps that have to be finished yet before the entire contract is actually done. Very detailed game, like I said, very. But with this, my friends, I think this is where we're going to round this video out. and we'll see you in the next one. And with that being said, this is Artichoke Dip, signing off.